We do not want your tired and sick.
It is the corrupt we claim.
It is your evil that will be sought by us. You people have been chosen to reveal our existence to the world.
The show's about to start.
Oh, I'm coming as fast as I can.
Good morning, Vietnam! You people have been chosen. You people have been chosen.
Welcome to the Edge of the Falls. You people have been chosen to reveal our existence to the world. I'm Brett Byro, a.k.a. The Madman. Just kicking it as usual.
Hiding over here, it's me, the Mystic Peter Green, but we're not going to activate my camera for a bit because we got a special guest in the house. Introduce yourself, sir.
My name is Tim Heater, one of the biggest Joe Biden fans. Oh, I'm sorry, Donald Trump fans around in this city. And I'm a normal taxpayer that just happens to have a job working for the city.
And together we are the Edge of the Falls. All right, so the music will end out in a second here. I'm just by myself on the tech booth. But doing well. Everybody seeing us, I hope. Let's go check on Facebook. Yep, we're live.
So I'm just inviting a couple people. So
Hey, that's cool. Oh, that was good. Hey, your phone's ringing already.
Damn.
If you take it, we're going to have a live call.
I'm recording a show. Who's this? Oh, hang on.
You got to pair it up, right?
Hang on.
All right.
Stay on the line.
All right. Well, this is the fun part of the show, isn't it, Tim?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we're going to get there.
You there?
I'm here.
What's happening?
What's happening with you?
Nothing. Just recording. You're live. What's up?
Oh, I'm live?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're live on the air.
What's the show about?
Our show is going to be about some happenings that have been going on in Niagara Falls. We're going to talk a little bit about the Union. We're joined by Tim Heather.
Heater,
whatever, some say tomato, some say tomato.
asshole, whatever. I answered all of them. Wear that title proudly.
What's going on? Did you work?
Yeah, I'm working.
Yeah, what are you doing?
Still same transportation center.
Yeah, that was your opportunity to give yourself a plug.
Simply Shell Coating, 990-2600, residential and commercial lots, driveways, patching, sealing.
And a partridge in a pear tree.
Anyone that wants to look at my work can go by Solidays on Ward Road and check it out. I just got done doing 58,000 square feet.
Cool. Good. Or I'm sure that the transportation center is going to look good.
Yep.
I'd be helping you if I wasn't hurt.
I know. I had to let go of a guy today.
Uh-oh.
So.
Call the union.
Was he struggling?
Call his union rep. File a grievance.
Yeah.
Hard to find good people working, though, isn't it?
It is hard. It is.
You
It's
have
not
no
like,
idea.
It's just fucking hard.
All right, bro. We're going to carry on with the show. I'll holler at you soon.
Hey, have a good show.
All right, brother. Later.
Thanks, son. That was cool. Our first call of the night.
And that last name is pronounced Heater.
Heater.
Just like a furnace. Thanks,
Like a heater,
Rick Buckman.
A heater.
So Tim, you're here tonight. We just talked about this about that you are a union employee of the city of Niagara Falls, correct?
That is correct.
And
I
you're
am a
not
member.
speaking on behalf of the union nor the city, but you're speaking as a citizen who has, you said on the elevator, inside information, correct?
That's correct. I can put some facts out that people may be a little confused on or maybe a little misunderstanding about. As everybody's been told before, there are 7 unions that represent the majority of the employees in the city. And I don't like being lumped in with all other unions because not all unions, first off, are treated the same.
Right.
Not all unions have the same contracts, the same pay, the same benefits. There's a lot of things that are different between those 7 different unions. Even within our steelworkers union, we have 3 separate units within the amalgamated union. We have the civil service or the competitive unit.
3 locals, right? You would call it.
Well, no, they're all under the same local.
Right.
But we have a unit for the civil service, which is a competitive unit. We also have the laborers union, the unit, which is considered non-competitive unit. They don't have to take a civil service test to get their job, but they work just as hard as we do. They just don't have a certain, like me, I'm a mechanic.
Okay, well,
these guys
before
are
you
like
go into
laborers.
that explanation, we have an important question for you. First of all, you're a union guy. How long have you been in the union?
I've been working with this union here in the city for just under 10 years now.
That's good. And as a union guy, can you answer, okay, where is Jimmy Hoffa?
He is in the end zone of the New York Giants.
No,
football
he's
stadium.
not. They looked. Mythbusters looked and they broke it all up.
You got to understand how they bury the people, okay? They stopped looking when they found the dead dog, but they bury the body under the dead dog because they know people will stop looking once they find the dog bones. Come on,
okay.
man. Refresh your history about how they used to handle
Yeah, but I was
business.
just reading about that. Anyway, we've been having a little fun. Where's Jimmy Hoffa? But no, so go on now. You were saying there were 3. You were talking about the laborers union.
We have the laborers union, which they still have their job titles. They have different job specs for those, but they're more of simply a general laborer. Like I said, I don't want to diminish their jobs that they do, the work that they do, but they don't have to have, like me, I have to have special licenses. I have to have my own tools. I have to maintain a CDL, things like that, which some of the hourly ones as well do when they haul blacktop and stuff like that. But then there's also a third segment of our steelworkers union, which is the mechanics over at the water plant, which when I say mechanics, I think they're more of operators that operate the equipment rather than they're not auto mechanics. They don't fix that kind of equipment. So those are the 3 steelworker components within our 9434 unit here in the city of Niagara Falls.
Okay. And a lot of people, what we could tell last week, you were on the phone with us. We actually extended the show. A lot of people had a great deal of excitement or a lot of information, misinformation about
Correct.
what had been done, which unions had been called to the table or come to the table, whatever.
Exactly. When I didn't like hearing how there's been comments made, well, the unions won't work with the city. I can tell you that the Steelworkers Union was represented at that meeting when they called all the 7 unions in to sit with the city and try and come to an agreement as far as to concessions and things like that.
What did the steelworkers do?
We actually agreed to not do anything right now for the simple fact that, well, I mean, I'm going to tell you right now, we were asked to take a pay cut. And the explanation with the pay cut was if the city was to get their federal aid or whatever, then they would reimburse the people that took the pay cuts. If not, just remember, we're all in this together. Well, it was shortly thereafter, after the unions declined to give any concessions, we'll say, that it was announced that we have approximately 15 people that are retiring from the Steelworkers Union, and it was announced that those positions aren't going to be backfilled. So effectively, they've eliminated 15 jobs, on top of asking us to give concessions to take a pay cut while everybody else and their brother are off, scared of the coronavirus. Their job got shut down, whatever their case was, but they're collecting the extra $600 a week. They're making more money basically than what the people that are working are. And then on top of that, the city wants the unions to give back because the financial mismanagement that's happened in the city for so long. And don't get me wrong, I understand the coronavirus. It's really, I watched the council meeting and I see that there's a big hit in the revenue stream. But what I don't get is, like Home Depot, they gave their people $2 an hour raise to go to work during this coronavirus, and they were given bonuses and stuff. The city steelworkers, I don't believe, as a matter of fact, all the unions, I believe in the city, that we didn't get anything extra. We don't get no hazard pay. We got our regular standard
You didn't
pay.
get anything extra?
Absolutely nothing.
Nothing, huh?
I get my straight hourly rate that I get no matter what.
Yeah, but, well, and did you work the whole time, Tim?
My department, the mechanics, yes, we did because we are shorthanded as it is.
Okay.
Now, some of the other units.
All right, you see where I was going with it.
I do. Some of the other units, they were ordered by the governor that they were to reduce the workforce by 50% in order to social distance and to try and keep as many people from getting exposed to each other as possible. Now, what we did was we would have, instead of having 4 people riding around to go to a job in their truck to do the weed whacking, the cutting and stuff, they knocked it down to 2. We still had the same amount of work to do, but effectively we had half the workforce to do it. We still got paid, yes we did, because had they gone through the layoff procedure, then you would open a whole can of worms about seniority and, things like that. So it actually made sense. Plus with the paycheck protection plan that the president had announced, I believe the city should qualify for that, but I'm not sure because they didn't lay anybody off, which, don't get me wrong, I'm thankful that I was still working and everything else. But what people need to understand is the people that weren't at work when they were scheduled to be quarantining at home was what the expectation was. They were still on call. If it came down where somebody called in sick, somebody got hurt, a big job came up and we needed extra manpower,
it did.
Those people came in. It did. There were a few instances where we had to call people in.
You told me one last week?
No, there were a couple.
You're right. I'm going to call you out on this.
Absolutely. There were a few
and I know you're
instances.
a union guy, and you have to talk, for your union brothers. And of course, I would be too. You already know that. Me and you talked about this.
Correct.
If other people were in the union, everybody'd be like pro-union. And I have to agree when you said, if you want, a better wage or a better job, work for it, earn it, apply for it. They could have done the same thing. However. However, Tim, that Niagara, is it right to put the onus on you? No, it's not right to put the onus on the steelworkers or the DPW. We know who's getting overpaid here, and I'm just going to call a spade a spade. It's the firemen. It's it's the police. Come on, guys. There's no reason that people...
Let me cut you off. I know what you're showing. I'm going to cut you off right there. There's a way you can follow the money. see-through-ny.net, I believe it is. You can pull up salaries for city employees, union employees included. They have a category for police and fire. They have a category for general laborers, which is my category that I fall under because I'm not police and fire. You can go through, though, and you pull up under the general laborers. I just did right before we went on the air. And last year's salaries, there was one person that made over $100,000 for the year.
Did he deserve it?
One single person. It wasn't me. I can tell you right now.
Did he deserve it?
I can't answer that. Honestly, I can't because
answer it as Tim.
I don't know all of his job specs. I don't know all of his job requirements or anything like that. I don't know how much overtime he had to work, what was required of him. I know my job, and I can tell you right now that the pay that I get, I could go make more working in the for a car dealership or something like that. I could, but the benefits for me, plus the job security. I mean. I paid my dues.
Brother. I understand exactly where you're coming from, and I guess everybody wants a way out. If you have a way out, send it to us. Send it to Mayor Restino. Send it to somebody. Give some. I'm sure everybody's going to listen.
Part of the problem is finding a solution, man. If people got answers, if they got better solutions, it's only a dummy that's not going to listen to somebody's idea, whether it be a good idea, bad idea. It doesn't matter. A smart man's going to listen to an idea if somebody can do it better.
I think taking from everybody, over and over and over again. Me and you again have talked about this. You know that just for example, the garbage fee, and everybody's up in arms about the garbage fee. And then they look at it, well, the union workers are making so much money, or fire, or police. When I say that, you understand where I'm getting at.
I do.
And again,
let me shed a little light on the union contracts. Okay, now I started in 2011, January of 2011. When I first started, we were just in the process. I voted on the first contract when I first started. That contract had been expired for, I believe, 3 years. Okay, so we were still working under the existing contract that was 3 years expired, which meant that there were no raises in that 3 years until the new contract was negotiated. The new contract was ratified. It was good for 4 years from the date when we signed it. But they still had to go back and deal with the 3 years that they were expired that, I lost audio. Oh, there you are. What's up, Peter?
What's going?
I can hear me. I can't hear Brett.
I'm not talking.
Oh, there you are. Okay. That's why I can't hear you.
See?
Okay.
There he is,
But
and he
anyway,
wasn't talking.
Anyway, that contract was ratified. It was good for 4 years. That was a standard union contract. Well, then we go another, what did we do the contract in 2018? So you're talking 7 years. Okay, the first 4 years we were under contract. That contract expired in 2014. So 15, 16, and 17, we worked under an expired contract, which meant we got no raises because there was no language, just like the casino compact. When there's nothing specified that you get a raise past the end of the contract, then you basically stand still, you hold pat, and you don't get anything until you get a new contract. Now, we don't strike. We're civil service. We're not going to strike. We can do informational pickets, but we have no strikes. But we had to work for 3 years with no raise, okay? So I hear people complaining, well, you gave these guys 7-year contracts. Understand the 7-year contract, okay? You got to go 3 years back. Plus then you go 4 years ahead. Our new contract that we got is actually a 10-year contract because they had to deal with the 3 years behind. Then they wanted to go 7 years ahead because it was easier for them to make the budget. So they knew exactly what the expenses for the employee labor was going to be, separate from the overtime, of course, which overtime is a variable. But I'm going to tell you this. I remember being at those council meetings, and I remember one certain council, former chairman, saying that at the meeting before they revealed the contracts, that, we didn't really want to go too far and everything like that. He had heard wind that there were going to be longer contracts than normal, and he thought that was a bad idea. The very next meeting, when they revealed these contracts, the city attorney says, this is the best we could do. This is our negotiated in good faith. Both sides agree to this. Okay? That contract, when they announced that certain former council chairman was like, oh, this is the greatest thing since sliced bread. Now we know what our expenses are going to be for the next 7 years. Okay, so those contracts at first they were looked at as a bad thing. Then they were looked at as a good thing. Now they're back to looked at as a bad thing. Let me tell you something. The last 30 years of contracts for my steelworkers union, I pulled them and I looked at them. 17 out of 30 years, there was 0 raises. 0, not a cost of living increase, 0, okay, in order to maintain the benefits package that we had. Now when they ask and say, well, you guys should give concessions, okay, if you go on average, even if you go with the low average, we'll use round number 2%, okay, a 2% raise for 17 years, that's 34% pay that we're getting less now that we could have bargained for, probably could have fought for it, maybe would have lost some benefits in the process, but that's part of bargaining. Okay, but it meant more to our bargaining unit to say, hey, look, we will forego a 2% raise or whatever raise we can get in order for us to keep our benefits the way they are. Now, we had to. Of course
you would.
We had to give up. Okay, but we're talking over 30 years here. Okay, so then fast forward to now. Now everybody says, oh, you guys have the Cadillac health insurance.
We're talking about now. We're not talking about 30 years ago.
Well, I'm going to talk about now. Our contract that we have now. The one that was just signed, year and a half, 2 years ago, whatever it was, everybody copay went up on our medical insurance. Okay, they couldn't do, when we were hired in, we were hired under certain tiers. And some of the tiers, they couldn't change the terms of that because, like me, when I was hired, I had to work, I had to pay a certain amount of premium for a certain amount of time. After that, then I was locked in with the premium. The only thing I had to pay was for my copays and stuff. The new people, since the city wanted to create a new tier, now the new people are paying 15% of their premium, I believe it is. Plus, they raised everybody's copays. Every single person, even the people that have been here for 30 years.
How much are your copays, Tim? $10?
I know to go to a doctor, my regular checkup appointment is $15 for the visit. The emergency room is $75. If I go to an urgent care, it's $35. But prescriptions, we have $30 copays.
So way better than someone that doesn't have the good benefits.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not going to sit here and say that we got shit benefits, brother. We got good benefits. I'll be the first one to tell you, and I'm grateful for those benefits.
Get a boob job?
No, we cannot. We do not have the cosmetic surgery rider on our policy. But I can tell you this. That's the main thing for me because I've told you guys all. I have a daughter that's got cystic fibrosis. She's on a new medication. That medication is $311,000 a year. My insurance covers it. I pay a $15 copay on that medical that medicine. Absolutely. You know, I just got back from the Cleveland Clinic. My daughter's getting pre-screened to do a double lung transplant right now. She's 26 years old. If I was to have to pay for that out of my pocket, we're talking, you know, probably close to $1 million with all the aftercare and everything. My insurance covers it. I am absolutely ecstatic, grateful beyond words.
And of course you would be. That's
part of the reason that I don't look for another job. Sure, I could chase a higher paycheck somewhere else. But you know something, I live comfortable within my means. And I'm not sitting here saying, oh, I need a $2,000 raise this month. I'm not saying that at all. I looked at the raises in our last contract. They didn't do a percentage for our unit. They did a 40 cent an hour raise. Now, 40 cents an hour, okay. I'm not going to say it's a bad deal, but you know what? It could have been better, but it could have been a zero like we've done for 17 of the last 30 years. But they did go through and negotiate in good faith. This was negotiated with the city attorney, the representative that represented the administrative branch, which includes the mayor, the city administrator, and corporation council and everybody. It was negotiated with each individual unit because my contract, the civil service unit, is negotiated separate from the hourly unit, and we're obviously separate from the water board contracts. So our units all negotiated separately. There were some things that were different in the other contracts that were different in ours, but that we did the best, supposedly they did the best they could do in good faith to where both parties felt satisfied. Me personally, like I said, I think we could have done better on the raise and things like that. But now fast forward to now when the city's asking for concessions. What does the city have to offer in order to trade, to bargain? Okay, bargaining is when both sides have something to offer. Okay, the city really has nothing to offer as far as for an advantage or any kind of incentive for the unions to come to the table.
That's why we're here, brother.
You got they put a public information officer in. The funding they justified by saying it was from the savings from the city administrator's salary. Okay, fine. So you got a $42,000 a year position that was created that when you get right down to it is a middleman. He's going to get information from department heads in different areas, and he's going to put it out to the public. Why do we need a middleman to do that? Why can't each individual department put that out? Why did they eliminate the council administrative assistant? Because they said it was an unnecessary position. Councilmen can take their own phone calls. They had Ms. Vitella was doing it for a little while before she left, okay? Why do we need a $42,000 a year position that when they said this is a low-paying position, I'm sorry, but I've got members of my unit that have been with the city for 20-plus years that don't make $42,000 a year. So you really just kicked them straight in the nuts when you say, look, this is a low-paying position. Well, what about me? I've been here 28 years. I've given you, 28 years of my life to do this. Oh, just remember, we're all in this together. But the city, the point I'm trying to make is the city saved a little bit of money, $42,000 city administrator salary, and they create a position with it. A position that, when you get right down to it, is basically unnecessary, okay? What makes you think if these unions were to kick in and say, okay, you know what, we'll give concessions, we'll take pay cuts, what makes you think they're going to not create stupid positions like that again, unnecessary positions that we can do without? Let me tell you something. We got paving crews out there that are busting their butts that are shorthanded. I got mechanics that we are so far behind because we're shorthanded, and now we've got people that are retiring that are making it even more shorthanded. The amount of work that we have to do is not changing, but the amount of manpower we have to do it is changing. It's getting smaller. At one point in time, the Steelworkers Union had over 600 members in it. Right now, we're under 250. That's
Tim, come on. Everything that you're saying, and now I hate to cut you off, but now let's just speak a little bit. We don't have 100,000 people in Niagara Falls anymore. We don't have the population that we had. You guys, it's not like, I'm sorry, I'm just calling a spade, and you just got to hear me out here. It's not like you guys are overworked, Tim. You're saying the paving crews are, they bust their ass. You know damn well they don't bust. That's one team that is not busting their ass.
Okay, I'm going to tell you right now, I don't service the taxpayers.
Right.
Okay, the amount of work that we have to do, we cut grass in the parks. Seth Piccirillo was redoing the parks, doing a great job redoing the parks. One good thing he did. The parks all got makeovers. What does that mean? That means more maintenance. Now it's going to take you longer to cut grass because you got to cut around the 4 new
Weren't
sets
you
of
cutting it
swings.
anyways? I mean, you guys, you act like how is that more work? You know, it's not
How
more
many new
work.
parks
It's just
were
you were cutting them
created?
anyways.
But how many more new parks? You cut grass at your house, okay? Let me just say, I'm going to come over
as
to your
little
house.
as I can.
Well, okay. But when you cut your grass, okay, you got your big open area. I'm going to come over to your house, and I'm going to put a stick in the ground, and you're going to have to cut around all them sticks. Do you think it's going to take you longer? Absolutely, because you're going to have to walk
I see what
around.
you're saying.
Okay? Just like with the fire department will tell you the same thing. The area that we have to service, the area that we have to cover is not smaller just because the population is. We still have parks to maintain. We still have city buildings to maintain. We still have the same amount of roads to maintain. The amount of population is not. That's where the revenue comes
Look,
from.
I was just throwing that out there saying
I understand,
because you
but
said
I'm
the paving crews are busting ass. You know damn well you drive down the roads, the paving crews are
the
not
paving
busting
crews are limited on what the city is
I understand.
allowing in the
I understand.
funding.
I understand.
We're doing what we
I
can with the
understand.
funding
I
we're
understand.
given.
I understand. I'm just calling you out when you said they were busting
Absolutely,
their
and
ass.
I appreciate it. You know what? I'm not. Like I said, I will give you the truth, what I know.
Bill Kennedy
the best I
chimed in
can.
and said you lose all negotiating power when you create a patronage job.
Bingo. Mm-hmm. And I'll tell you who said that first. Mr. J. Zona.
Yep.
I read that from him, and you know what? He hit the nail right on the head. And like I said, when the city comes at a time we're in a pandemic, everybody's making more money on unemployment. We're still working. Now, let me tell you something, okay? We didn't get any extra PPE. We didn't get any extra. Right. The only thing that we got as far as precautions went was when they cut the labor force in half, so we weren't all exposed together. But if one person in that department that's working on say, a crew gets contracts coronavirus, well, then you're going to have to quarantine everybody on that crew. So then the B crew is going to come in. Okay, hopefully they don't get it so they can cover while these guys are quarantined. This was all governor's mandate. This wasn't city's mandate. This was the governor's mandate to cut the workforce by half. I'm not putting the blame on,
I understand.
on the administration.
My reason for even saying that was because you got paid for it.
We still got paid, but also, like I said, we were still on call. It wasn't like we were on vacation. We could just take off and go down to our camp in the Southern Tier, or take off and go out on the boat. No, if they called you, I did the directive myself. I'm the recording secretary. I put the directive out that said, if you are called in on the day that you're not scheduled to report to work, you got 15 minutes to respond. You don't respond, you don't get paid. You could still use your vacation time, absolutely. You could still use your personal time, sick time, whatever sick time or time off that you had. You could use that. But when you weren't scheduled to be at work, you were expected to be at home, staying away from people, quarantining basically, to keep yourself from getting this virus and bringing it to work with you. But those people were still on call. When we had somebody went down and got hurt or somebody called in sick, they called somebody else in because we were already cut in half. You had to bring somebody else in to cover that labor shortage. I mean, there's no getting around it. And then there was a comment made that somebody drove through the Hyde Park and, the park looks great. While everything was shut down, sure it did. Nobody was out there playing baseball, having parties, leaving garbage everywhere, nothing like that. So there was that we didn't have to do. But we still had to go cut that grass because you all know the grass still grows whether you got a virus or not, the grass is still growing. So the work was still there. We still had to do that work. Just like last year, remember when we had all the rain at the beginning of the season? We got way behind on cutting the grass. It took us a while to get caught back up. Well, this year we had less manpower to be able to get that done. So now we're trying to scramble to get everything caught back up because everybody came back to work. We're back to full crews now. But now look where we're at. We're in the middle of summer pretty much, and these guys are still trying to catch up. Parks and everything, yeah, they're catching up. The paving crew, I mean, they had to wait till the plant opened up so they could get material to be able to pave anything. I mean, there's only so much that you could do. And what really pisses me off is that it's getting blamed on the unions. It's the unions' fault because they wouldn't come and help the city
You're
out.
just
we lost
grouped
the
into
kids
that.
program.
You know that.
Exactly. And you know what? You can't. That's like saying, all guys are murderers. All men are domestic violence. They all commit domestic violence. You know something? I've never laid hand on a woman. There's guys that have, but I never have. So don't lump me in with them, just like my union. Don't lump my union in with all the unions because we don't all get treated the same. You can go back and look at contracts, and you can see where the contracts were not negotiated all the same. I'm not going to sit here and say we got treated bad or anything like that, but you can tell where the willingness to negotiate in good faith, there was a little more effort on some contracts than there were in the others. And you know what? Kudos to them. If you get it, you negotiated for it, you bargained for it, you were willing to give up something to get something. That's what union contracts are about. But you're not going to sit here and blame the union contracts when the union contracts are fixed. Okay, there's a fixed amount that we get paid. There's a fixed salary schedule that we get paid. You can't say, well, now there's more. It's costing us more for this. No, it's not. Actually,
so kind of the thinking, you know, and again, I'm not knocking you, so don't take it personal. The thinking is, you know, well, I'm in the fucking union, so hooray for me, and fuck all the rest of you guys because we didn't do this. You know, the government did this. This was written into our contract. The city did this. It's the city's fault. And you're right. It is the city's fucking fault.
The virus was not anyone. Well, we could say it was China's fault, but I mean, the virus happened. Okay, it's an unforeseen circumstance.
Not just the virus, bro. I'm talking, even beforehand. The virus isn't what's killing Niagara Falls, Tim.
Oh no, and you know what? You're going to hear people say, especially when it comes to budget. Well, the labor and the payroll, that's 80% of the budget. Why is it 80% of the budget? What does the city produce? What products and goods do the city produce that makes them money? None. Yeah, we provide service. Yeah. Okay? So what do you need to provide service? You need manpower. You need labor. You need equipment. So once you purchase all the equipment, what's left? The manpower. I mean, that's of course that's going to be the majority of the budget.
Look, I'm not saying you guys aren't needed. You already know that.
All of us. I mean, right. Whether it be the administration, whether it be the police, the fire, the steelworkers, there's a job that has to be done. And what people don't understand is we provide the service to the taxpayers, but we're also users of that service because we have a residency clause where we live in the city. So when everybody bitches, oh, that's because of the unions at the garbage fee. I pay that garbage fee, brother. I pay the same fees you
Tim,
guys do.
Let me ask you a question. No, I'm not even going to ask you, but I'm just going to give my maybe a little bit of opinion. I think that there are thousands of people out there that would take an $18 an hour job with no benefits, right now at this point in time.
Yeah, I'm sure there probably is because there's a lot of people that are out of work.
Right.
But you know what? Apply for the job. Go to human resources and apply for the job. Let me tell you something. My job was not given to me because I didn't deserve it. I knew absolutely nobody that worked for the city. When I went in for my interview, I looked Dave Kinney straight in the face and I said, does this job depend on what sign I put in my front yard? Because if it's got anything to do with politics, count me out. I was in college, I'll finish getting my degree, and I'll work somewhere else. No, I got the job on my merits. I've got over 30 years experience as a mechanic. I own all my tools. I have all the licenses. I have all the experience that I need. That's why I got my job. I moved to New York in 2001. Okay, I don't have any relatives around here, just besides my son and my kids and stuff like that. But I don't have any relatives here that can pull a string or, this politician's going to get me this patronage job. That never happened with
All right,
me.
Gentlemen, I'm going to interrupt for a moment, just take a quick break here, and we're going to come back with Tim Heater. And the number is on the screen. Hugh there. But the number is on the screen, and at the moment we thought we should run a couple of vignettes for you. One is Chris Baccio looking like the soup Nazi on...
Yeah, we're going to talk about that.
Yeah, let's come back with that. Stand by.
Before we adjourn the meeting, I just want to thank those of you who came to the meeting tonight. And just lastly, I'll just say that, look, we know that the city is in need of improvement. We know that there's blight out there. I can tell you that this administration, this meeting is adjourned. Try to be civil. You can't do it.
No counsel for you. And now, The Edge of the Falls presents Word of the Day. Today's word is defendant. Defendant. Now, the madman will use the word in a sentence.
Defendant. One day soon, the fucking sexual predator lawyer will be the defendant. Defendant.
That's word of the day from the edge of the falls. All right, and we're back. Yeah, but Council Chair Baccio.
Yeah, let's take a quick minute and just talk about. It's funny how you give a sniveling little crybaby a little bit of power, and you see what happens. That's the way he handled it. Come on.
How dare you peasants question us?
Yeah. Oh, this meeting is adjourned. I was trying to be civil.
No council
Get the
for
fuck
you.
out of here. Unfortunately, another hand-picked person, I think, that got onto to be the chairman. He got lucky.
Well, you know what? One of the things I've been thinking about, and Mr. Vocho came from the Gazette, we know, and I know they had financial difficulties. We looked into it. He had, when he was campaigning for council.
Yeah, he pretty much killed the Gazette, didn't he?
I got
good job.
I got the Gazette solvent. Do you know how I got the Gazette solvent? Well, he got them. First off, what they did is they went in and they cut all the high-paying people. They just axed them all. We're going to keep the low-paying people because obviously they're cheaper labor. Then we lost circulation on Tuesdays. So I'm waiting to see if his answer to solving this budget problem is we're just going to shut the city down on Tuesday, and then we're going to save all this labor, and everybody's going to be part-time and no benefits.
How do you have a local paper with no Sunday paper? What's that tell you? Come on, guys.
I hope that's not what the plan is. I really don't think he's going to do that. But I remember him saying, campaigning on we need smaller government, we need to put government on a diet. Well, let's create a public information officer, and I'm going to agree to it because we need to put government on a diet. But we're going to create this position anyway.
You already know. It's tell you what you want and then do what they have to. The kids ask, stay in office, keep their benefits, Jesus.
There's just been a lot of backwards thinking over the years here, and you can only beat the taxpayers so much before they finally have enough and say,
that's
look.
why you guys are taking the blame. If things were all rosy and everybody was happy, we wouldn't be bitching, about the unions, the police, the fire.
Absolutely
you
not.
already know that. Right?
Tim, what you were just saying is actually quite true. If you watch that video that many people have posted, I saw it on John Rustino's page. If you watch that video, it's on YouTube. Brett and I watched the whole thing, and we watched the woman who was catcalling from the back of the room, or heckling.
Right.
Dominique.
Yep.
But what was it, Brett, we were saying is that what she said made a lot of sense. And
it did make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I don't know, if actually, a usage fee for your garbage, could be something that's feasible, but it sounds like maybe right. However, John Rustino said, I've seen this comment before and I liked it. Don't forget, you guys, I'm banned on Facebook. Otherwise, I would be on here talking shit, posting everything. So anybody that's listening that knows me, you already, if I'm not ignoring you. I'm banned. Bad Brett. He posted something about Trump. Oh, Jesus Christ.
You have a lot of fans. Yeah. A lot of fans.
Oh, it's fun.
All right. So, anyways, John Rustino said he was just trying to kiss the administration's butt, because he needs them to get reelected. Obviously, there's a lot of truth to that.
Yes.
Let me give you something to chew on here. Okay. Before the garbage user fee, garbage was covered by your property taxes. So when they remove that component that's a responsibility of your property taxes and they make it a separate user fee,
your property tax should go down.
Why did your property taxes not go down? And
I'm with you.
Then on another note here, why is it that garbage fee, you heard all kinds of different numbers. I heard numbers ranging from $130 to $240 or whatever a year for one can. Now, why did that number fluctuate when the garbage contract was already signed? Now, that's a contract, much like a union contract, that has to be negotiated and it has to be agreed upon by both parties, and it can't be changed unless both parties agree to it. So there's a garbage contract locked in with Modern that's been locked in. That was negotiated by the last administration 2-3 years ago, whatever it was. But anyway, when they were discussing this garbage user fee last year, the number just seemed to keep moving around. Okay, that contract should be a fixed contract. Why was the numbers going up and down? Because just like
because they had to cover up the millions.
This is not a garbage user fee. It's labeled as a user fee, but this is a new revenue stream that they need to use.
Of course, they needed this. They had to come up with this money. So
and now this is going to bring me back to one more point that I wanted to make about the union contracts. just say, for instance, the steelworkers said, okay, we agree, we'll give you back this. What we're going to give you is going to amount to $700,000. They're looking to fill a $4+ million gap, okay? Where are you going to get the rest of that money? If you don't start cutting stuff, where are you going to pull that money from?
What more are we going to cut, Tim?
I'll tell you right now, I see a lot of consultants. I see a lot of change orders. Man, you know what? I used to go to council meetings and bitch about change orders.
I thought they stopped change orders already.
Yeah, good luck. Yeah. You know what I was told? That's a part of the business. Yeah. Oh, okay. Great. Well, that's a business that somebody needs to learn then, because if you got to build in change orders, that means you screwed up in the original. And you know something? You take your car over to a mechanic and he says, gives you an estimate. You sign the estimate.
You know that's why. Are we smarter than everybody else, Tim, or what? You know that that's the biggest way for them to go in a lowball price and then put in change order. Change order.
Absolutely. But you can't call it bid rigging because that's a legal term. That's an actual legal charge. And you can't just throw that around just like when you accuse somebody of being a pedophile or a racist. You have to have some kind of proof. So you can't say that it's bid rigging. But when you see the same contractors,
I don't think you have to have proof to call somebody a racist, because I know that little prick Nick D'Angelo was saying something about me being a racist, and I'm far from.
Oh my
racist.
God!
It's because of the bald head and the tattoos.
No, we've got one of the texts that have been submitted to us that they're looking at now. He says he actually tells someone to
erase their post because the Edge of the Falls is run by white supremacists and racist.
Oh my God!
Okay, anyway, I just wanted to add that in.
You know what? You should stop calling him Nick D'Angelo. You should call him fucking
we call him
Inspector
Nicky.
Gadget.
We call him Nicky the Sex Monkey. He's up every tree.
You should call him Inspector Gadget because he likes to say my reach is farther than yours, so he's got like fucking go-go gadget arms. Yeah. You know, call him Inspector Gadget.
One thing he won't do is
he won't go to your face
lippy with anybody.
He won't go to your face.
Sure. No, he'll send messages or tell other people that. Yep, he's a weasel. Always has been, always will be. One thing that he will do, I bet you that he's got some sort of abuse, or something going on in his life, or he would put his hands on a girl, no doubt in my mind.
Well, I can tell you this. I had words with him a few years back, and I told him, I said, look, I know you.
Before puberty? Sorry.
Well, it could very well have been, but I simply told him, I said, look, I know you. You went to school with my kids. I know what you did. And trust me when I tell you, I don't know how you got your bar exam, how you got to even take a bar exam.
Mommy and Daddy.
But what you did was wrong, and you will never, ever try and talk shit about me because, buddy, you've done a hell of a lot more dirt than me. And if God comes around passing out lightning bolts, you got one coming up your ass before it's coming up mine. Okay? I'm not perfect. I'm a man. I'll tell you right now, I'll be the first one to admit that I've made my mistakes. But you know something? When you start doing stupid shit like that, you get what you got coming to you one of these days.
And Tim, again, we kind of got off the subject a little bit, but maybe we needed to. I think that the people that are okay with the actions that he does, and they don't talk about it, they don't bring it up, they don't address it,
they're enabling
except
it.
to try. Exactly, they're
empowering.
They're little, he's I'm your 18-year-old lawyer. Get the fuck out of here. You know what? I guess what he needs is his ass kicked really, really good.
Hey guys, you might want to take a look at the monitors on your right. Ken Tompkins piped in with a response on the cost per can. I thought I'd leave it up there for you for a minute.
Read it.
Because the number changed based on multiple cans. It was $243. Second set only 50 more. Now it went to $181. Two are $331. Not double, but not $50. That is the difference. The fee can only pay the contract. It cannot go in general budget. Thanks, Ken.
I guess okay. That answers that question, but it still doesn't answer what's up with the property tax and why didn't that go down?
I'm going to tell you, I read comments. One very smart individual. Some people argue about it. Mr. Jeffrey Flatch. I'm sorry if I pronounce your name wrong. He broke it down to where you can see that it was basically a 30% tax increase because they didn't lower the property taxes when they put the garbage user fee. When you took the user fee out of the where it was covered by property taxes before and the taxes didn't go down, that amounted to a 30% increase.
Look, they didn't hide the fact, and Ken didn't hide the fact that this money had to come from somewhere.
You're right, it did. And I will ask the same question that I just asked when the unions didn't give concessions. Where are you going to get the money from? Okay, when you're faced with options, and I'm in no way justifying how somebody votes on the council, but when you're faced with option A and option B, and you look at them and you say, well, what's the lesser of two evils, which is basically how we have to look at voting for politicians most of the time nowadays. But when you look at it and you say, okay, well, option A is we impose the user fee, and then we don't have to let all these people go and say, you know what, you don't work here anymore. Or option B, we just let all these people go, and nobody gets a user fee, and now we've got less services. Now you're going to have people bitching because, well, I called the DPW about a tree falling down 12 years ago, and it's still not done. Well, probably because we have no people working in DPW anymore or in forestry because, well, we had to cut the budget because you didn't want a user fee. That money's got to come from somewhere.
Hypothetically speaking, of course, on your end and mine now, that maybe it's time, someone just, pulled that string a little bit, and said, hey,
call the bluff.
Let's take our chances. What the hell?
But the other thing, too, and I'm going to tell you that it really chaps my ass when I hear people, and it's not just you. There's a lot of other people. Oh, it's Kenny Tompkins. Kenny Tompkins. That's Kenny Tompkins has. First off, let's get a clue on how city council works. No resolution, no agenda item passes without a minimum of 3 votes. If you don't have 2 other people besides Kenny Tompkins voting for that, it doesn't pass. It would have gotten defeated, and they would have had to figure out, they would have done the layoffs or whatever. So when you guys try to blame, and I say you people try to blame one person for this, and I understand he didn't support it, he didn't want to vote for it. He even said that when he was running for council when he was getting reelected. I was working with him on his campaign. I was. Kenny's a friend of mine. I'm not ashamed to admit it. But when it comes to politics, him and I know we see differently some things. But this is one thing that I strongly feel that people are trying to lay the blame on one single person for what a group had to do to accomplish that to pass. It wasn't just his vote. He didn't want to have to vote for that. Him and I have talked about it because I chewed him out as well, just like everybody else. Oh, you caved into this, you did this. You know what? He had option A and option B. Him and I talked about it. He showed me, and I'm like, you know what? Now I understand. Do I like it? Do I agree with it? Hell no, I don't like it. That's costing me more money. But it is what it is. But it wasn't his vote. He was the only one that actually showed opposition that didn't want to support it, didn't want to vote for it, but had to at the last minute because option B was much worse than option A, which was the user fee. But there were 2 other councilmen that did vote for that were pretty steadfast on it, that didn't waver, that they were going to vote for it no matter what.
And there were 2 that were steadfast against it.
Exactly. So you can't sit here and say, well, it was his fault. It's not just his fault.
The reason why I say that is because you already know, the whole story.
I do.
The day before, he came on our show and said, I am not voting for the garbage fee. That's why we were mad at him. That's why everything, I guess he had an epiphany that night.
Well, at the last hour, like I said, he's presented, look, these are the 2 options. The previous mayor said it either passes or this is going to happen. And I
understand that too. I understand that. That's the way he put it to us too. How could he, say, okay?
What do you do?
All these, I don't know. I don't know what I don't have all the answers.
He seemed to be like he wanted it to go away. He wasn't ready. He knew it was coming, and no matter what you say,
you're wrong. No matter what you do, no matter how you vote, you're always going to be wrong. You're going to piss somebody off, and that's what when him and I talked when he was talking about running again for re-election. I'm like, listen, man, look at how everybody just turns on you like this shit. You can never satisfy everybody. You get crucified. And you know what? All the councilmen, the city administration, they all have to make tough decisions that unless you got your ass in their chair, you don't know.
Ken caused that, on his own.
And something, I'll tell you right now, you can ask him today if he supports it, and he's going to tell you, no, he doesn't like it, but it was what he had to do. It wasn't that he couldn't vote because it was, well, I want to do this, I want to do that. It was something he was basically railroaded into given the options that were presented to him. I don't support it. He doesn't support it. None of us like supporting it.
Then say no.
But then what was the other alternative, Peter? This is what we just said. Option A was we get the user fee and we keep all
he's
the
listening.
all
He
this
said,
shit.
all options sucked, and he tried to pick
You
the
know,
least sucky.
The one that's going to impact the least amount of services and
You know what? I don't know if I think you remember, us talking about this before. We were saying, look, don't call this. If they wouldn't have called it a garbage fee, they would have just came up with some fucking other name for it. Ken Tompkins. I know it's not your fault, Ken, but you and all those guys would have just came up with another name for this without it being some fee. This would have. It's
called the
Luann. It would have been over already. We would not be talking about this right now.
we know that the city, according to the last budget or the last council meeting, the city's down. I think park and revenue is down like 80%. Right. They're looking at an overall, I think it was 30% budget or revenue decrease across the three major revenue lines. So I'm going to tell you right now, you better get ready.
Oh, it's going to get worse, Tim. You know that.
Truck called user fees driven right straight through your ass.
I don't know how these guys aren't thinking already. Jesus
They
Christ,
are.
What are we going to do?
They are already. I'm going to tell you right now that there are already meetings that are being scheduled that they're going to be sitting down and they're going to try and figure out. There's no other option. I mean, short of either casino cash coming through and that putting a Band-Aid on it, or we get a federal aid package or something like that. Man, we have got such a whole.
Look at our the go-to plan is we have the Niagara Falls in our fucking backyard. Why aren't we using that more to our advantage instead of giving everything away?
Because past politicians signed contracts. There's that nasty, dirty C word. They signed contracts with NYPA. They signed contracts with the Hornblower Tour or whatever the hell it was, how it used to be the Maid of the Mist before. They all had these.
No, Hornblower's on the Canadian side.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
it's
Maid of the Mist.
Canadian. I'm sorry. But anyway, they had these just ridiculous contracts. Even the casino. Look at George Pataki when he negotiated this. We got fucked. I mean, we're providing the services, and we get the smallest amount of money that they give us. How could we let this happen? You know why it happened? Because at the time when it happened, these people, these politicians, at the time we were in such bad needs. It's like it's like an oasis. We're gonna give you all this money, but what they didn't realize is that money didn't really change. It just kind of held stagnant, and the cost of everything else went up. But then when it got cut off, oh, my God, now you don't have those little crumbs anymore. Now you got to go back to starvation mode again. And that's what we weren't prepared for. They didn't prepare for it. I'm going to tell you right now, Maria Brown, when she was a city controller, she warned the administration, and she was fucking removed from her job. And I told her, I said, that's bullshit. They should have fucking listened. She should have still been in there as the controller. Okay, she gave them the heads up. She says, here's the warning flag, fellas. If you don't change the way you're going, we're going to be screwed within the next 5 years. And God damn it, we got screwed. Because they wouldn't listen.
Look at the casino. Look at their contract. Everything goes back to a contract. Again, I'm just wondering, where is I don't know. Where is the projected outcomes that these people are not seeing? You understand what I'm getting at?
I do.
Why aren't people taking that into consideration?
When
I say you people, you guys already know. Me and you had to talk. When I'm saying sissified or this or that, it's the sissified thinking. Not that I'm calling everybody sissies. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is the sissified thinking has gotten us, even again with politics, where we're at, how we're going, how things are going. You wonder why people don't want to work? Because society isn't making them. Or society, fuck that. We're going all media now because, but that's where it's at. So, steel workers, carpenters, everybody. But guess what? There's going to be an influx now. My son was telling me they're starting to wake up a little bit, and seeing now. Guess what? Maybe I can make more money being a carpenter.
You know what? Trades are dying. Vocational schools.
Yes.
I
you know
agree.
what? I tell everybody, and they think I'm bullshitting. I went to school to be a damn secretary. Okay? I have been an auto mechanic since I was like 8 years old. I started learning. My dad was the family mechanic. He had a bad back. He told me what to do. I was the muscle that did everything. I naturally picked it up. Now I make a living doing that, and it's something I happen to enjoy. But I didn't push my kids to do it. They said they wanted to, and I'm like, are you kidding me? Why don't you go be a lawyer or a doctor or a fireman or something? You know what I mean? And these kids they insist. And I'm like, it's a rough life. But you know what? It's a trade that I'll be able to make a living off of. I can, I have lots of friends because even these people that have their shit stolen and then they need to help working on it the next day, the mechanics always have a lot of friends. And
listen, it's
look
not
here,
about
Brad.
being friends. You know that. That has nothing to do with it. Our biggest problem besides cash flow and all that is what? Is what, guys?
Kids think they're entitled and they don't have to work for it.
People
give it to me, and I'm not
People in
working
Niagara
for it.
Falls are killing this city and have been for years and years and years. And
That's the
That's
culture.
what I'm saying.
The culture
people,
that's
right.
that's
Crime,
around here.
drugs. Perfect example. I leave my truck running for fucking 2 minutes. I go in the house. I'm talking to my daughter. I come back outside. My truck is driving down the road.
Well, at least it ran well enough for him to drive it down the road. Didn't lose a wheel or run into something. I mean,
hey, there's an absence of callers tonight. Where's Eastside Dave? We were waiting for the fireworks.
I think he got mad. Remember, last week when he said, "Okay, I'm done," or whatever. I think he was mad. I hope not.
Well, that's really our purpose here. We're trying to make you mad, so you fight harder. Come on, and poor Tim, comes in, he's got us. Where's all the heavyweights out there?
You know something? I'm just here to dispel the myths and to put some truth and accurate information out. Myth. Myth.
No, it's not myths.
Well, some of it is because you get misinformation and
like what? What's the misinformation?
That the unions are breaking the city. That
I don't think that. I think that me and you have talked about this already, and again, maybe because you're a union worker, you won't agree. But I think that the union workers here in Niagara Falls have it made because it's so cheap to live in Niagara Falls. You have to agree.
I'm going to sit here and say that.
And which
that
ones
we're
live in
above-
the city? Hang on, we have to stress that.
There we go. The median income for the city employees, when you compare, they like to compare the council. They like to compare different things, different cities. Ithaca, I think Rochester was one. I don't know what all the cities were. When you go back and you compare, even if you were to compare it to like Lewiston, Tonawanda, Williamsville, look at what their public employees make compared to what the city public employees make. And I think it would really open your eyes to see that we actually are lower paid than all the other city employees around in the area. We are. And it's the main reason I'm going to tell you right now is because we have foregone raises to keep our benefits.
Not very good negotiators, are you?
Well, actually, like I said, I mean, for me, the insurance means
far more, yeah.
Everybody.
We've got
a lot to your hourly
these
rate.
incomes are not only supporting families; they're supporting taxpayers that pay taxes in this city. So we're basically putting back towards our salary. We feel the same pain for all these fees and bills and increases and everything else. We feel the same pain because we are residents here. We are taxpayers here. We are supporting our families here. Like I said, I moved here, I have to admit, of my own free will in 2001. And you know what? I'll tell you that I've lived in worse places. Sure, I've lived in better places, but...
Hey, Jason Marsh is calling bullshit to that. He says, I do plumbing for work, and I've tried getting a job for the city, and I was always told they're not hiring.
I believe those come from the union hall.
Okay.
Mr. Marsh, I believe they bring the trades all from their own separate union halls. We got the plumbers, the electricians, painters, and
I don't think that's how it goes anyway. So don't you go on a list, and then you wait, until it's your turn
through the union hall for trades.
Right.
But
not dispelling anything, Jason, because I know I tried, or I went down, I took the test to become a carpenter, and lo and behold, there was a bunch of dumbass No, I'm just kidding.
He just used lo and behold.
Well,
I love it.
Listen.
However,
I take the test, and next week I'm number one. I'm like, what the fuck? How am I number fucking one? I was not expecting this.
Let me throw in a however there for Mr. Marsh. However, let me inform you that our deputy director of DPW is also a plumber by trade. So there are opportunities. It's just a matter of timing. At the time when I applied for the job as a city mechanic, they were hiring at the time. Look at the situation now. Let me ask you this, okay? Do you really want to try and come to work for the city now, knowing that this next budget is going to be horrendous?
Here, Tim, a lot of people say to me about nepotism and things like that. Does someone have a fair chance if they apply off the street? They're a skilled trade, like we often talk about. They come in and they apply. Are they up against, is there more influence coming from someone in power that's going to get someone else a job? Does that happen?
Peter, that's how I got my job, was applying right off the street.
Right.
Okay,
But
and I can
I
dispel
have
that,
no
Peter, because
family
I've
or
always
anything
been a loudmouth troublemaker, and I made it to number one.
well,
Yeah,
there
you're
you
number
go.
one right there,
Yeah.
buddy.
However,
You're number one. But no, you know what? The jobs are posted up at City Hall. We have various boards in various city buildings. They're on a green sheet of paper. Some of them are promotional positions, which means you have to be entry level, currently working for the city in order to take a promotional. You're being promoted to a higher position. But there are entry level positions that are out there, and they do advertise some in the newspaper. I know they were looking for a mechanic, and they advertised it in the newspaper. Civil service test announcements, you get on the city's website, go through the Civil Service Commission. You can go through the county and find the civil service test. Anybody can sign up to take a civil service test. You go pay the fee, you go sit to take the test, then you're established on the list according to where you're scored at. As they look to fill those positions, just like police and fire, they have their list. They go off of that list, they start at the top and work their way down. They canvass for a certain amount of people. You go in, you interview just like a regular job. And if they like you, they hire you. Does it help if you got somebody? Come on, man. You can't.
Course,
there's no way you can deny that it helps to know somebody there. But in my circumstance, under my circumstances, when I got hired, I can tell you right now, I knew absolutely nobody here. I didn't work.
No, and I heard you say that earlier,
shops.
but there's a lot of, some people are saying, like Patty Hayes piped in and said, the overtime is padding people's pensions and things like that.
Let me ask you, you know what? Overtime is like a dirty word around for the steelworkers. We don't rarely get overtime. Getting overtime is like pulling teeth. You've got to have the president's fucking permission to get overtime most of the time.
Does that mean having
unless
your
it's
teeth
an
pulled
emergency.
or you're pulling someone else's?
I mean, I don't get overtime. But then there's other departments, divisions, employees for the city that have overtime built into their fucking budget. Okay? When you're scheduling overtime, I'm sorry, but you got a fucking problem.
Look, you know that there's a ploy, and how overtime is granted, and you know that already. I know
the overtime.
I'm
going to tell you that the main overtime that you will see from DPW and the steelworkers is during storms, when you've got storm cleanup, snowstorms, when you got to get the plows out. In the wintertime, we break down into rotating shifts so that there's at least 3 people on a shift, any given shift, any hour of the day, to try and eliminate the overtime. And then they will call them in if we get hit with a hellish snowstorm. They will bring more people in. But you know what? For the most part, we don't get the overtime. It's not in our budget. They don't give it to us. And like I said, it's got to be approved by 14 people before you can go in and fix one stupid little thing. But then there's other ones, like I said, that they got overtime planned in their budget and in their schedule. And you know what?
I get it.
All I keep saying is follow the money. You want to know where your money's at? Follow the money. Look at you. You know what? Pull it all up and look at it.
It's been another informative show, and I hope people enjoyed it. And I think we'll see what happens. I don't know. I don't know.
Listen,
what's going to happen.
I'm not.
I don't want to drop any bombs, on anything. But
well,
I don't know where my road is going.
I'm not hard to find. I'm always on your podcast. Obviously, we're friends on Facebook. People can link to me through you.
I throw quarters at you on the street, so you're okay.
Yeah,
you
expect favors for that, though. No, nobody can fill those shoes, Brett. Sorry, buddy, but I'm just not up to that task. But if you want information, man, ask. Don't assume. Don't start rumors or listen to rumors. You want to know an answer? Ask the fucking question. Right. You want to know what's going on with this shit? Dude, it's all on the internet. It's all on city website. There's lots of sources for information, not to mention
you believe stuff
people
on the internet?
Jason Marsh, I believe Ken Tompkins was telling you to go apply at his place, that they're hiring, I believe.
H.W. Brickinson.
H.W. Brickinson.
Oh, and I'm going to say one more thing, too. I want to make one more thing. Just so everybody knows, I do help out with the community. I've obviously helped you guys with when we were doing the hot dog giveaway.
Yeah.
Peanut butter jelly hot dogs.
Yeah, of course. They're good.
I also help out with the car show at Sal Magley. And as of right now, that is still a go.
Hey,
We are
when's that?
still planning on doing it. It is. I'd have to look for sure. I want to say.
Hang on, 1 minute. Fuck you, Ken. he said me and you are brothers. We look alike.
Somebody said you both talk with your hands.
I'm the pretty one, though. But we are still planning on doing that. Obviously, that is a benefit for the Toys for Tots, which is for the Fireman Children's Toy Fund, which, I'm sorry, not Toys for Tots, that's the Marine Corps. It benefits the Children's Toy Drive for the firemen. And we obviously have a car show. We're still looking for sponsors. If anybody wants to sponsor anything, trophies, you want to come up, set up a shop or anything like that, get a hold of Ken Tompkins, or we have the Facebook page on there. You can get a hold of somebody. You can get a hold of me if you want, and I will direct you over. But we're still a go for that.
If we're allowed.
Well, you know what? Like I said, it's a peaceful protest. It's not a car show. It's a fucking peaceful
Well, it's like
protest.
our tailgating parties that
Which
start
means
next week.
with it being a peaceful protest, we're going to be coronavirus free. It won't be there. It's afraid of peaceful protest.
You know what? I didn't get into it, or maybe I did last week. On how you get a few people together and everybody's having fun, being good, not loud, not obnoxious. Well, maybe that we were loud. I don't know. You were there.
I was. It was a good time.
Yeah, it was. A good
Then
time.
it was loud.
Right, and then of course, 4 notes by the police, on my door, and someone sent the health board over. Get the hell out!
Dude, you remember when we were doing the food giveaway for Easter? Yeah. The day before Easter, we got a phone call from somebody called the Governor Snitch Line. We had to deal with, Chief Licata, Superintendent Licata, which he was really cool about it. Said, hey, maybe you guys should not do this right now. And we agreed, and we came to an amicable decision, and we did what we did. But you know what? They drove by. Even after we had permission, they still drove by. And I'm like, tell them to stop. We'll give them some food, man. It's Easter. Come get some food. You made the best barbecue that day, and they missed out on it. But you're doing something good for the community. Then you got some asshole that's got to call the Governor Snitch Line. Oh, these guys are selling stuff. There was a fucking sign that said free hot dogs, free food. Right. We're selling free stuff. Yep, come and get it, buddy. 100% discount just for you. But,
all right, let's get the hell out of here.
Yeah, let's get the hell out of here, man. It's beer 30.
Gentlemen, I want to thank our audience tonight. I want to thank Tim for coming in. It's always great having you. And just remember, just ordinary citizen, even though I had all the union logos for you. I was going to put you in the steelworkers and the Teamsters.
You know what?
And
the Teletubbies.
That's the 3 of us, man.
That is my occupation. That is not who I am as a man. But thank you.
Of course. So we want to thank the Madman tonight. And ladies and gentlemen, we'll leave you with Chris Vaccio's graceful exit from council.
And let's not forget.
Before we adjourn the meeting, I just want to thank those of you who came to the meeting tonight. And just lastly, I'll just say that, look, we know that the city is in need of improvement. We know that there's blight out there. I can tell you that this administration, this meeting is adjourned. Try to be civil. You can't do it.